We are back. I should say I am back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali. Today I'm flying solo. Dom is off. He'll be back on Friday for betting on the Bills. So you'll have to wait a couple days for an abbreviated Dom 5 to get his takes, get his thoughts. But yeah, it's just me here today. Get to recap a fantastic Bills victory, although it was a slow start. Get to recap it for you starting right here. So you know how we like to start it off. By the way, they won 34-10 after a obnoxiously slow start, as you know they've done all season essentially. So we're going to get things started here for the highlights. We're going to get it kicked off here after a couple big plays. The first score for the Bills, down 10-0 in the first quarter. Allen hands it off to James Cook, where he makes a big move right up the middle, does some dancing, gets into the end zone to get the Bills within 3 points. Then we got to give the defense some love here to help that score in the second half. It's still 10-7 when 13 minutes left in the third quarter. They stop a big down conversion, stuffing the run. Tony Pollard has nowhere to go, and now they go for it on fourth down. But with the same luck, the Bills defense just holds strong, does not allow Tony Pollard to do what Tony Pollard normally does. Taylor Rapp is big on that with the Guardian cap, and the rest of the line were huge. Here, back in the third quarter with 10 minutes, Amari Cooper, his first catch and touchdown as a Buffalo Bill. He didn't even know what the play was supposed to be. Josh Allen throws one right over the middle to him. Keon Coleman had to let him know what was going on. And then the Bills are up 17-10 in the fourth quarter with about 15 minutes left. Allen finds Ty Johnson right over the middle, just falls right into the end zone for another score to extend the lead. And that's the second running back of the day to score. James Cook was the first. And, we got to look at the defense here in the fourth quarter, help solidify the game 100%. Damar Hamlin gets his second INT of the season, I believe second career INT as well. Christian Benford defended that pass and bopped it right into his hands. And to cap the game off and to put it as if it wasn't out of reach, Ray Davis rumbles, bumbles, and stumbles his way into the end zone for the touchdown, giving the Bills their victory over the Titans. Running back Ray Davis was, in fact, the third running back to score. So is everyone eating again? I mean, Keon Coleman had some big plays. Amari Cooper, as you saw, had the touchdown, but he had another couple nice grabs as well. Khalil Shakir was a huge part of this win. So does Amari Cooper week one already showing what it could look like? Everybody eating again with a true X receiver? You never know. It's very, very interesting. It's exciting to see already an impact being made with him on a short week. He comes in on the trade, and you heard him. You heard on the broadcast they mentioned he was signing Cleveland Browns gear, and then he's leaving the event and finds out he got traded to Buffalo, and he's like, "Well, that's going to do it." So he made a big impact on day one. I mean, let's just look at the stats here. Allen went 21 for 33 for 323 yards with 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, you can't really compete with that. He was 4 for 11 going into the half. He whipped it into shape for the second half. That's all you have to say there. After a sluggish first half again, the rushing leader was Ray Davis with 5 carries for 41 yards, and he had that touchdown, as you saw, cap off the end of the highlights. And Keon Coleman actually led the receiving room his first game with over 100 yards, receiving 125 yards on 4 receptions. So he was very, very effective in the game, and that was a huge part of them being able to overcome the Titans, who, Dom and I noted it, might be inflated a little bit, but they do have the number one pass defense in the NFL. And again, we said that was inflated because of who their record was against, right? But at the end of the day, you still put the screws to them. They were driving all over you in the first half. The defense stepped up, made some big plays. So you couldn't really ask for much more out of the performance. A lot of people, though, a big takeaway that I did want to come across here, because this is going to just be a brief game recap for you. But one thing I did want to mention is going into halftime, right? The Bills had the ball. Momentum was swinging back and forth. They still, they got the score going into halftime to go 10-7, but they had a chance to take the lead, couldn't get it done. The coaching staff, I think, whiffs on this. You let the ball hit the 2-minute warning. And I know some people might be like, oh, it's, whatever. So they have a free timeout. I would have run at least one more play, maybe be a little more aggressive if it were me. I still think it's that coaching not to lose rather than the coaching to win, which has been kind of evident throughout the season. And it's just head scratching because truthfully, a lot of people are on that Sean McDermott firing wagon, right? Dom and I were last year. I'm not going to speak for him at this point, but we have chatted about it. Statistician Ginge also has commented. It's the thought of here's how in the only world that actually happens because he is so tightly ingrained with the front office, with Brandon Bean, with the Pagulas, right? The only reasonable world where that firing does occur is if they miss the divisional round, if they go out in the wild card or miss the playoffs, right? God forbid. We don't want, and no one wants that to happen, but they miss the playoffs or go out in the wild card. His seat is hot, extremely hot if they don't even make the playoffs, but his seat's hot. Divisional exit, his seat's warm. He's, going out in the same area that he was at before. So I'd say his seat's just warm and his seat's ice cold, even if they just make an AFC championship. He's not going anywhere. Like that to me solidifies that. So as much as, people want change, people want that offensive mind at the head coaching position. I mean, you got to give McDermott credit where credit is due, though. This defensive scheme that the Bills run, yeah, minus the first half of a couple games this season. Don't get me wrong, but in the second half with the adjustments with Bobby Babich, everything seems to be buttoning up. And that defense, it's healthier. You have Terrell Bernard and Taron Johnson back, excuse me. You have those guys back, but at the same time, it's nothing. Like Terrell Bernard was in and out of the game with injuries, right? He had to take a couple snaps off, got the wind knocked out of him. He hurt his leg on one of them. So we're gonna have to see what happens there. But your defense is getting a little healthier. Just Matt Milano being out, Dorian Williams has stepped up just as well at this point. So I think you have to give credit where credit's due a little bit on with the coaching with that. But I do see where people can be frustrated because I mean, I find myself, and Dom can attest to this too. I find myself getting frustrated at the coaching not to lose rather than coaching to win. That's something that sticks out to me like a sore thumb. Trailing down, you have 15 seconds left in the second, and until the 2-minute warning in the first half. It baffles me a little bit the way things are handled. But I mean, they're winning, so they're 5-2 on the season. No one's complaining. Everyone said they would have been happy before the season seeing a 3-3 opponent, or a 3-3 record, excuse me, with the Bills at this point in the season because it is just so competitive and they were in a retool year. I think the 3-0 really just subverted everyone's expectations, and then it went out the window that this is even a retool year. So you're going to definitely still see some ups and downs. I mean, you saw Keon Coleman's peak of the season, right? As of yet, first game again over 100 yards receiving, 125 on 4 receptions. And they wanted him to get that touchdown at the end too, because he had one that was nabbed from him. The Zebras took that one away, but that he's already showing like he's getting more comfortable in the offense. Amari Cooper is only going to get more comfortable. Khalil Shakir is the centerpiece of this offense. Kincaid, Knox, you're seeing them get more involved. This Titans game is a preview, I think, on a short week with very little prep time for Amari Cooper, showing you what a true X receiver can do to diversify your offense. And it didn't happen in spectacular fashion. Let's just say that. But it happened on quite a few plays. Even the one where I still laugh at it. You see Allen calling audible on Amari Cooper's touchdown pass. Cooper throws his arms up. He's like, "What am I supposed to do here?" Coleman just points, shows him the route. Coleman's out there showing Amari Cooper a route. Like I just can't. They seem to be gelling together. I know it's early to say chemistry or anything along those lines, but the way they played, if they can continue doing that, you got to march to Kansas City here. And we're going to talk all about it on Friday, the Seattle game at least, because Seattle has been putting up a hell of a season at this point. They're a rowdy team to play. And Geno Smith is not to be scoffed at for no matter how many years he was irrelevant in the NFL. He's a starting quarterback for a reason. So on Friday, you'll have Dom and Dom with a quick Dom 5 if he so pleases. If not, we'll just preview the game. But I think the takeaway from this game is, yeah, sloppy start, right? But they put that to bed quickly in the second half. They really did. That was the consensus. Everyone I've talked to since the game was, like so frustrated at the first half. I was getting text during the game how frustrated people were with the first half. What are they doing? People who put bets down, what are they doing? And then the second half happened. They win, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, they figured it out." That just seems to be what it is. I don't think you can do that against really good teams. You saw what happened with Baltimore. You let it get away a little bit in the beginning, and you couldn't catch up. I don't think you'll be able to do that against Kansas City. or even Seattle. But I think they'll figure it out. They're going to work out the kinks. They seemed very comfortable in the second half. Allen calmed down. It looked like he was a little sugar high Josh in the first half as well, putting some heat on those passes they were dropping. So I don't know. It definitely, it's a positive game to take away, a very positive game. But at the same time, I think there's a lot to learn from, and I think the Bills will do it. But that's going to do it for my quick game recap here. Sorry, not for the full episode. We had a couple scheduling conflicts pop up at the last minute. So just wanted to get something out there to please the people's ears about this Bills victory. And Dom and I will be back with you on Friday. We'll be back with you for betting on the Bills week 8. Week 8. We're about halfway through the season. Another week and we're over half. So there's a lot of time left, but there's a lot of time gone, and the Bills have a very good record as of now. And at the end of the day, win the AFC East, you're going to the playoffs. And the AFC East, as of now, Devontae Adams didn't fix the Jets in 1 week. So we're going to see how that ends up. But you play the Dolphins again. Tua is coming back, and you got to play the Patriots twice towards the end of the season. But that should be a little swipe of the nose, nothing to scoff at there. So I think the Bills are in a very good spot right now, winning the games they have in the fashion they have because they put the league on notice. But it's going to be teams like Baltimore. It's going to be teams like Kansas City that are going to be your roadblock in the playoffs. We're going to have to see if they can get around them because they got steamrolled by Baltimore. But that's for another time. Thank you for listening. Much appreciated. I'm Joe Cali. As always, I'm normally joined by Dom Loss, but it was just me today. And we always end these with a Go Bills.